Okay, so I told you guys that I was going to fill you in with the missing information from my son Shawn's case and what has been going on behind the scenes. So I need y'all to really listen to me because this right here is where everything starts to shift from questions to clear contradictions. I have held on to a lot of this information while we were putting the investigation together because I didn't know who was watching. I didn't know who I could trust. And I wanted to make sure that when I was speaking, I was speaking from facts. And now I have those facts, and they are not lining up the way they should. My name is Trishawna Dandridge, and I am the mother of Shawn Lee Fortune. And what I'm about to explain to you is the difference between what witnesses saw and what staff witnesses documented, and how those two stories do not match at all. Now, let's start with the night before my son was found, because this is where everything begins to break apart. Witnesses who were actually there said that Shawn was not okay. They said he was falling asleep repeatedly. They said they had to keep waking him up. They said something was off, really off about him. That is not a small detail. That means whatever happened did not just happen in the morning. It was already happening hours before. And now compare that to what staff documentation suggests. That he was fine during checks, that he was okay, that everything was normal. Those two statements cannot exist at the same time. Either he was not okay or he was, and the people who were physically around him are saying he was not. Now, let's go deeper, because this is where it gets even more serious. Witnesses said they saw blood around his head. They said they saw foam. They described a scene that was very alarming, but the official documentation changes that wording to blood-like substances, brown-colored liquid, and softened descriptions. So now I need you to ask yourself, why would something as serious as blood be rewritten into something less direct? Why does it look different on paper than what people actually saw? Because that is not just a wording issue. That is a narrative issue. Now let's talk about the timeline, because this is another major problem. I was already given a timeline last year when I first started pushing for investigative reports. Now, that timeline showed one sequence of events. Now, suddenly, I have received another version of that same timeline that tells a completely different story about where my son was and when. So now we have two timelines for the same night, two different versions of movement, two different sequences of events, and that is not supposed to happen. There should be only one accurate timeline. So now the question becomes, which one is true? Or are they trying to reconstruct the story after the fact? And let's connect that to the bed checks, okay? Because according to their own documentation, they performed room checks multiple times throughout the night. But at the same time, their timeline places my son in the lobby during at least 3 of those same time periods. So how are you checking rooms if the person is not in the room? How are you marking that everything is okay if the person is somewhere else? And if he was in that lobby during those times, then who was supervising him? And what was happening to him during that window? Because now we are looking at a situation where the logs do not match the movement. And that is a supervision failure. Now let's talk about something even more serious, the documentation itself, because the Department of Labor already confirmed that this facility was using outdated templates from 2017 in 2025. So now, when I see forms that do not match or timelines that suddenly change, I have to question the integrity of those records. And then on top of that, I have documents with my name on them that I did not sign. I never knew knowledge of them. So now we are dealing with a situation where outdated forms are being used and signatures are appearing without my authorization. So I have to ask, are these documents being properly completed, or are they being filled in after the fact? Because that is not just negligence. That raises serious concerns about falsified documents. And not to mention, my signature was on there from 2017. Where did they even get that from? It was 2015. I'm sorry. Where did they even get that from? Now let's talk about what I personally experienced, because this is something nobody can take away from me. I spoke to my son on the phone while he was doing intake around 12 p.m. and he was already lethargic. He was falling asleep while talking to me. So whatever was happening did not start overnight. It did not start in the morning. It was already happening during intake. And I'm gonna come back with something in a little bit. So now I have to ask, what was given to him during intake, who gave it to him, and where is the documentation, especially when the federal investigation already confirmed that medication tracking was not, okay, it was not being handled properly. So now you have a person already showing signs hours before the incident in a system where medications is not being properly documented. And then later, that same person is found unresponsive. And I'm supposed to believe everything was handled correctly. No. That does not make sense. Now, let's talk about how the story keeps changing, because this is another major issue. First, it is one explanation, fentanyl. Then it is another. Now they are introducing medical conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, even an inhaler that my son did not have. And then at the same time, introducing drug-related narratives that do not stay consistent across reports. So now we have a situation where the medical profile is changing depending on the document. And that should not happen. Either the information is inaccurate or it is not. And right now, it is not consistent at all. And while all of this is happening, I am still fighting just to get basic records. I requested the police report. I requested the investigative report. I was told it would be forwarded, to the proper department that I would, and I was told it was being worked on, and then nothing. No response, no records, no follow-up, no explanation. And those are the exact documents that my detective needs to do his job. So while they are saying this is a non-criminal case, they are also withholding the very records that would explain how they came to that conclusion. And that is a problem, because you cannot close something out and then hide the documentation, then support that closure, or have the documentation that supports that closure. And at the same time, I'm still fighting through appeals to get the medical examiner's investigative report, because that was denied as well. So let's put all of this together. We have witnesses describing one thing, staff documenting another. We have two different timelines for the same night. We have room checks that do not match